And this confrontation went pretty quickly. I didn't expect Shura to come out so fast to fight Shiki. Like, I figured it would have been maybe a couple more chapters into, like, landing on Narrow 66 before we ended up getting into the fight between them. But, I mean, Shura came out to see what was going on. He thought it was Ziggy in the Eden Zero, so, I mean, it makes sense of why he would go out of his way to get out on the battlefield just for it. So, I mean, the chapter begins. I mean, it begins pretty standard. Like, they're just kind of talking, getting things going on. Also, I didn't expect Shura's hair to be green. I saw people talking about that as well. I don't know. Green just didn't cross my mind. I thought of, like, purple or maybe red or, something like that. Maybe even gray. But, no, he's got green hair. And then there's a good amount of green-haired people, actually, in Eden Zero. Maybe that's Mishima's big plan for this one. Green. But they're just generally discussing, like, the stuff with the all-link. They need to get in and stop it, use their plans to pretty much set up, how they're going to stop it. They're going to go inside of, go to Planet Narrow 66, and then they're going to use the Eden Zero to create a diversion, and then have ground forces pretty much go and infiltrate, sneak in, and shut off the all-link, make sure that they can't use it to destroy all the robots. I'm actually more worried about Ziggy in this scenario because I don't see the all-link going off where it's going to destroy all the robots, because it isn't even brought up, like, even the members of the Eden Zero crew, their robots will get pretty much killed if that goes off. Whereas my belief is that Ziggy wants to use it to spread his virus to all the machines. So it'd be like, was he going to end up infecting the Eden Zero, or maybe they can get out of there before that? I don't know, because with Ziggy, it's just a really strange setup with him, just because he's already not there. We know that he's going to be there, but, like, is he going to wait until pretty much the chaos has, like, started to settle and then swoop in when people are low? I mean, like, he's a bad guy right now, so I wouldn't put that past him to just pretty much play dirty like that. Also, something that I've noticed, I don't know if I've brought it up in previous chapters, but I can't really tell if it would be important or not. But Shura, on his ether gear, it goes over his clothes. Legitimately, I don't know if I've noticed that for any of the other characters. I actually have to go back and look, because I don't know, I've always assumed that it just goes on the skin. But I don't remember any characters otherwise that, had their ether gear over their clothes. Somebody can comment and tell me whether or not they've seen that in anyone else. That's just something that I haven't paid, I legitimately haven't paid a whole lot of attention to. I'm not gonna lie, just the status of ether gear over, like, clothing or whatever. I guess it'd be, I was thinking, like, maybe, like, Jin, but, like, Jin's are robotic limbs, so it's not, like, it's not going through flesh, but, I mean, it's still going on the material that, makes up his body. So, I don't know. It was just a really weird little side note that I noticed. I saw it a couple chapters ago, but I didn't really say anything, because maybe it was just like an error or something, but, like, Mishima's still doing it. I don't think he would mess something up like this consistently. But when Shiki goes down to confront Shura, after Shura stops the Eden Zero ship from landing and kind of, like, getting in further, you get, again, this really quick battle confrontation. This made the chapter read really fast, because there were a lot of, panels and spreads that didn't have a lot of text. I really like Shiki standing there. He's got the Eden Zero behind him looking cool, getting ready to go against Narrow. Again, neat. I like that we're getting at least the start of this fight. And it did answer one of the questions, I at least believe, of what the difference between Shiki and Shura, like, with their ether gears are going to be. Because if they're both using the same power, there has to be something that each of them are better than the other. And it looks like Shura's is applying gravity, like making stuff heavier, whereas Shiki's is, anti-gravity, making things lighter. His is more of the style that he's, uses to fly and move around and stuff, which makes sense, because with the way that his ether gear works and the way that he moves, because Shiki's biggest thing is his agility and his just general movement. We saw that really emphasized as well in Heroes. Like, if anyone who's read the Heroes crossover, you got to see Mishima's three, like, big main characters all kind of, like, work together. You have Haru, who, with the Ten Commandments sword. His is more set on, like, the variety and combination of his different swords. He's got multiple different swords, all with different powers, and it's just how he combos them together. Natsu is, like, very, very physical fighter. He's, set on offense and durability. You know, he's pretty much like a just all-around brawler when it comes to his powers. He's used to taking heavy hits and used to giving out heavy hits. Whereas Shiki's is maneuverability, agility, you know, very, very quick motion movement. And the way that it is, it's not just because he's like, oh, you know, he's fast. It's because of the way he uses his ether gear to alter gravity. So he essentially isn't, he's not just moving, he's making it so his gravity pushes him in that direction by making it so he, you know, he's quote unquote falling in that direction. We've seen that before with it's anytime that he's moved really in just kind of like weird quick succession. He's not just, oh yeah, I'm gonna, like, kind of like, you know, I see like Superman or somebody fly, but Shiki's not flying, he's just altering gravity to go in that direction for him. But Shiki and Shura have a quick confrontation, or a conversation rather, before their confrontation, and there's, you know, him asking who Shiki is, asking what his connection to Ziggy is. Shiki tells him that Ziggy's his grandpa. Obviously, Shura doesn't, you know, he thinks that's amusing. He doesn't really care about machines. He thinks it's a little silly, the idea of referring to a machine as somebody in your family. But Shiki, you know, Shiki doesn't believe that that's limited to humans. You know, it can go over to the machine. And again, it's one of those things I think Mishima has done really well with Eden Zero. See, he hasn't made it so like every single machine is like the shining stars. Like, there are robots that just seem like classical, kind of like old style machine robots, but there also are like the androids and stuff that are intelligent and to the point where they're, you know, pretty much the same as a human, except they have, you know, machinery parts that make them up instead of flesh. So he did a really good job at mixing that together and making it so you can kind of understand from both perspectives of the people that treat machines and stuff as they are machines, but then someone like Shiki who sees the, you know, the aspects of them that make them more like people. So that's just one of the things that I think that has been one of his best key components in Eden Zero. But Shura just goes to try and push Shiki with his gravity. Like, he goes and, you know, goes to press on him. They pretty much lock hands. And there's just kind of a gravity flex part. And this is where I was talking about the differences between how they use their ether gear. Shura's just trying to press on Shiki. It's definitely getting to him at one point. Like, you can see that it's, like, there's, you know, he's got the sweat drop. He's, like, wincing a little bit, probably hurts. But then when Shura is, like, getting ready, he's talking a little bit more shit, calling him a lightweight. And then Shiki just gets mad. You see Shura in the air. And like I said, Shura's seems more like gravity pressure. Shiki's is lightning gravity, which actually would really benefit Shiki if he can get to the point where Xenolith said that true gravity can transcend concepts. If he can, you know, make his pain lighter, quote unquote, Shiki would be able to do that. That would, like, he would probably excel at that, to be perfectly honest. And it's not the same thing as healing. It would be more of like a, you know, a mental thing. You just wouldn't feel the pain. It would be almost like a berserker trait. Like, you're still messed up, but it, like, the pain wouldn't get to you to where it's not going to hinder you in the fight. But Shura was, like, pretty astonished that Shiki was able to throw him. Shiki goes in, delivers, like, a good punch. And before Shura even recovers, Shiki comes in for another one. You know, lands another big hit. You have comments from Hermit saying that Shiki is stronger than he was before. But Shura, like, the comment is, like, Shura's not the only one who's stronger than I predicted. And I know that's hyping up Shiki, but it's still, like, keep in mind, it's still saying that they thought Shura wasn't this powerful. So that's something to me I think was more of an interesting piece in this chapter. I think the next chapter is just outright called Shiki versus Shura, so that's going to be really fun to see go down, just to see these two characters really have, like, a focused clash. I doubt it's going to be their full fight. Like, this is probably just round one. I would imagine that they're going to fight, and then probably something's going to happen to break them up, and then we'll get, like, more of a fight near the end areas of the arc. I don't know what I don't think that we're going to get Shiki versus Nero. I still think that the most logical way right now is Ziggy versus Nero and Shiki versus Shura. Because the thing about Nero is there are two options I would say with Nero. One, Nero's strength is more in his ether gear with his Emperor Dice and using it with the, you know, combining with his just mass military might. And he himself might not be powerful, but it's just like the level of prediction abilities with his dice and stuff, and then just how much force he has to use at his disposal to combine with it. And if that's the case, then I'd be like, well, we don't really need that much of a fight with him because I don't think he'd be that strong. Or he is strong, you know, he is one of the Galactica, so I mean, like, if it is that he himself is powerful, then I don't think Shiki would be able to do it. Like, Shiki's definitely strong, but we already saw him go up against a Galactica, and he was still a little bit worn down from his fight with Orc, but keep in mind, Justice didn't even leave what I would assume is like his base ether form, like his base ether gear form. He just had the plain set where it's just kind of like forms over the eye, nothing kind of extending out, nothing like that pseudo overdrive, no overdrive, and he didn't even look like he was trying that hard. When we saw him fighting Elsie, neither of them went beyond that like first status of their ether gear. I didn't see anything that looked like it progressed. Obviously, they for sure didn't go into ether or overdrive or anything. But even that kind of lower state of Justice was completely no diffing Shiki. He wasn't just beating him, it was no contest. So there's definitely a really big gap that I think Shiki has to cover before he gets to the Galactica and the Interstellar. Like, if he was able to fight Shiki now... Oh, I mentioned this before someone corrects me, and I was saying he fought against the Galactica. I was referring to Draken Joe, but like I didn't really mention Draken Joe that much because like the Draken Joe one is a little bit iffy because we saw him fight Draken Joe in Prime, or Draken Joe is strongest, but then we really didn't see like the full fight of him until after he got nerfed. But Justice is an Interstellar, not Galactica. Before anyone tries to clarify me, I know I just didn't specify the wording on it the best. But Shiki, I don't think he's gonna be able to fight one of the Interstellar or Galactica one-on-one for a bit. If he was already able to do that, I think the series would already be like moving way closer to way closer near like the final areas. I don't think that's it, because like as far as we know, the only people above the Galactica and the Interstellar, besides probably like Prime Ziggy, and obviously like Mother and stuff, are the Heavenly Knights of the Dancing Sakura. And they were like, what, 1,000 years ago, and the only one that we know of is Zenith, who's in a robot body, so I don't really see Shiki being at Galactica or Interstellar level yet. Probably like maybe another arc, maybe after this arc or something, maybe after this arc he'll start to kind of get into that area. But for right now, my guess is he's more like in between. Like, we have the oceans, and we have, the Interstellar and Galactica. I think he's around the in-between there, because he did get a big boost, obviously, and he's fighting Shura, and Shura I think Shura is for sure above any of the oceans. I know that, like, he beat Saika, but, like, Saika was, he wouldn't just crush his head. The dude wasn't expecting it, but I still think that he is above them, I would guess, but we'll see. Anyway, the next chapter is looking pretty hype. I can't wait to see how this goes down from both sides. Shura's obviously a really bad dude, but I think he's interesting so far. I think he's a pretty interesting villain. I really want to see exactly what caused him to be kind of the scum dude that he is. My guess is it has something to do with just like how Nero kind of raised him. But anyway, other than that, don't comment below. Thumbs up the video, but friend, like button, subscribe button, check out my other videos. Other than that, I appreciate everyone's already subscribed. Thank you all for listening. Bye.